Throughout modern history, we have been led to believe that to become successful, you needed to go to college or get a university degree, that we must become a lawyer, doctor, engineer, and study hard to get good grades, and then, if we're lucky, get a job that pays us $60,000 per year. Oh, and if that wasn't bad enough, we are then told that if we work hard enough, maybe in 5 to 10 years time, we're going to be able to make $150,000 per year. And finally, when we're 70 years old, we're going to be able to retire. According to Superannuation Australia, an estimated 70% of people over the age of 65 receive full or partial government benefits, which gives them less than $1,800 per month to live on, and the average retiree has less than $200,000 saved by 65 years old. The statistics are just as grim for those in the United States. On average, people have $131,000 saved for retirement, and their government allowance is barely enough to cover living expenses. If that doesn't frighten you, I don't know what does. These statistics are scary, yet it's what most people can only dream of. My grandparents are on government benefits, and my parents will soon be as well if something doesn't change, because modern day society encourages us to get into debt, do things you don't love, buy a car that you can't afford to impress people you don't even know. Over 80% of the Western world live paycheck to paycheck because they live so far above their means. If you're watching this video, you'd be considered by many a rebel and be labeled an outcast. We think differently, and if you watch any business-related content on YouTube, you're probably looking to break through and not end up as a statistic. We often get told what we're doing is risky and get looked down on as if we're crazy. To me, if you don't take control, that's risky. Now, I'm not saying everyone should have their own thing going on. Not at all. Nor am I saying having a job is horrible, but what I am saying is don't just conform to please others. If you want to go to university for a purpose, whether that be to become a doctor, scientist, or whatever it is, that's amazing. But you have to do it for you. If you were like me, you probably weren't interested in traditional education. I believe learning high income skills is what you should focus on if you're between 15 and 30 years old, because no matter what you do in your life, there will be ups and downs. You'll make money, you'll lose money, and that cycle will occur several times. But if you have skills you can leverage, you'll always be able to level up and grow as a person. The gift and curse with social media has been the same thing, and that is information. We're living in an age where there has never been a better time to start a business because we have access to basically everything nowadays. While that's great, it's also a curse because it causes analysis paralysis. We're in a bubble. If you watch my channel, chances are you're watching other agency owners on YouTube, and that puts you in a position where all you see is information. Oftentimes conflicting information, which stops you from moving forward. It's never been easier to become successful, yet most won't ever commit because all you see on social media is the highlight reels. The successes. You see people making $10,000 per week, or you see a complete beginner have a $40,000 month. You don't see the countless people failing behind the scenes. There is no difference between the people who make it and don't. This channel's whole purpose is to be as transparent with you as possible, and the truth is, it's hard. It's really hard. It's lonely, and most people give up. You've been sold a lie and a false picture of what it actually is like. To me, the best business you can start is a service-based business. I don't care if it's an agency or not, but it should be skill-based. There are so many ways to learn skills. When I was younger, I think I was 13 at the time, I seen Heston Blumenthal on MasterChef Australia, and he was completely defying the rules of cooking, questioning everything, and was always trying to make the impossible possible. I loved that. I loved that there were no rules, the creativity of it all. I learned the skill of cooking and immersed myself in every book. I did work experience. I did everything that I could to absorb knowledge. The money will come. First, you need to learn a skill, because if you can do something that someone else can't or doesn't have time to do, there will always be a place for you. You need to be useful. So many people are being led to believe you can build a six-figure business without any skills. And look, while maybe 0.3% of you that attempt it will make it work, but for the rest of you guys, it will fail. You need to understand your craft inside and out, and the best thing you should do if you want to build something of your own is learn a skill and then leverage that skill to help others. When you're younger, you have time. You need to commit to this, and that's the only way for you to truly break free. I don't care what you do in life, but every successful individual knows that to get ahead, they need a skill and to be able to solve a problem for someone else. Once you have these things, you can then start hiring and scaling, so you aren't working in the business, but rather on the business. You'll be in more of a managerial role. This isn't spoken about because it's not the sexy thing. Now, all you see on YouTube is how everything is easy and you can make all this money by only working 30 minutes a day. I'm sorry, but in the beginning, it ain't happening. To start with, you'll be working more hours than you do right now. And if you aren't willing to do that, then click off this video because starting a business isn't for you. Learning a high income skill is the quickest way for you to be financially free. Figure out what problems people or businesses are facing and that they'd be happy to pay you for a considerable amount at that. And just spend every waking moment learning it. A simple way to do this is by learning paid ads or how to make people more money and bring in new customers to their business. By learning a skill, you won't be leveraging your time. People don't pay you based on how many hours you put into it. They pay for the end result. Doesn't matter if it takes you 1 hour or 10 hours, it's the same. I've used this example before, but if something went wrong in a nuclear power plant and let's say no one there knew how to solve a problem, they brought someone in who specialized in fixing these sort of issues, and it required him to just flick a switch. If he charges $5,000 to flip a switch, it's not about how long it takes him, it's about the problem that he solved. I mean, it was a huge problem, right? And he probably spent the better part of 5 to 10 years learning how to solve that problem. That's what you're paid for. This concept applies to business. If you're working with a large or even a small business and you can generate them more customers, and let's say each customer is worth $1,000 to their business, you will soon understand how you can charge a pretty penny for the service, and businesses are willing to throw money at you if you can deliver results. The first couple of clients are the hardest to land, but once you do, it's a snowball effect. You'll be able to leverage past results to sign clients, and soon enough your sales calls will just be showing your case studies or past clients and how you've got them results. And if this prospect jumps on board, then they're going to see the same growth. It's not easy, but it is simple. And as long as you're getting results, clients are happy and you'll always have a sustainable business. You are an essential part of their growth, and this is why I believe learning how to get customers for businesses, as well as sales and closing, are the two most lucrative skills a person can learn. Regardless what you do in the future, if you are good at one of these or both of these skills, you're never going to be poor again. You can get a high-ticket sales job and earn multiple six figures, or you can start your own business. The choice is yours, and soon enough you're going to be able to leverage these skills to get your time back. As business owners, we sacrifice things to begin with so we can have the luxuries later. I believe Jordan Peterson summed it up best. We are bargaining with the future. To be committed to being great, building a successful business requires sacrifice. That means friends, family, going out, everything. You need to be willing to put it all on the line for the small possibility of making it. Now look, everyone's definition of making it is different. Maybe you just want to spend time with your wife or girlfriend, make $70,000 to $90,000 per year. And if that's you, that's awesome, that's great. Nothing wrong with that. You just want the simple life, working from home for yourself to spend time with the people that you want to and that you love. But if you truly want to make a lot of money, build a big business, have employees, then you need to be willing to sacrifice. It might take you 1 year or it could take you 7 years. Either way, you need to stay committed and not give up or hesitate on your decisions, because there will be times that you question yourself and wonder if it's all worth it. For me, when I go through that, I ask myself, well, what's the alternative? To me, there is none. It's this or nothing. The reality is, I've found for most people, the reason they aren't where they want to be is because they see this lifestyle, they see this false representation that's depicted on Instagram and the highlight reels. And unfortunately, that's more present now than it's ever been before. But when it comes down to it, they're not willing to put in the work it takes and make the sacrifices necessary to get to this position. To me, ever since before pursuing business and entrepreneurship, I was willing to sacrifice. When I was working in the kitchen as a teenager, I had no social life, I had no weekends, there were no parties for me. Since I was 14, I've been committed to the pursuit of something more. And before going down this road, you need to really ask yourself, is this for you? Spend some time really reflecting on that. It also doesn't mean if you do commit and sacrifice, you'll actually succeed. But not doing it surely means you will fail. You need to decide how important this is to you, what your goals are, and what your motivations are. This path isn't easy, but like I said, we are the misfits, the outliers. So if we wanted easy, we would have just got a normal job.